Uh, Dinesh, over to you. Tell us, tell us your why. Why are you doing what you're doing?
So, in terms of that, I've always been a serial entrepreneur. I started my first company when I was 17. I saw an opportunity, took it up. Came to Canada. I was a CTO of an augmented reality organization. I met my co-founder. He was working in a next generation 911 project in US. Even today, you pick your call and call 911, even if there is a flood or any kind of conditions. Even there is a power cut, you get floods of calls. And sometimes, whenever these calls happen, you don't have enough resources to deploy. You don't have enough ambulatory services, you don't have enough fire services, you don't have the police services, and so on. So when these conditions happen, what happens in the right now is chronologically, whichever call comes first, they send an ambulatory service to that. They don't identify what is more severe to another. For example, if I'm in a car and something happens to me, I just say twist my ankle and I'm feeling that it's severe. But whereas in another condition, there might be a kid who needs immediate medical care at that situation, but the ambulatory services would be applying to me if I make the call first. And sometimes it's too overwhelming in these conditions. And right now, uh, when we had this idea, we went to IBM and we spoke to them saying that this is what our idea is. And they were interested in taking us into IBM Tech Accelerator because that's a huge problem which IBM was also solving in terms of video analytics. Because right now, if you see in the market, there is a lot in terms of images, but not a lot in terms of video. Because image is much more easier to analyze what is happening, but as a video, it's a lot difficult because lighting condition matters, environment matters, weather, so noise, because a camera could be panning. So there is a lot of things which you're talking about. So we were interested in that space. And then when we spoke with some of the first responders, even in the first world countries, what they have cameras around the world and they have cameras everywhere. What they do is whenever they get an alarm, they go back to the video center. If at all the alarm is ambiguous, they go back to the video center. They try finding out where what happened. It takes them 20 to 25 minutes to contact that. And in terms of an US, it's a $1.8 trillion project, which has been happening for the past 8 months, 8 years, sorry. So this is what we wanted to solve. We wanted to solve how can we analyze things, and then we came down to video center and IoT data centers, which is already around the world. But when you talk about video surveillance, everyone gets in mind only on one thing: facial recognition, and it is all about privacy. But we wanted to prove to the world that it's not just about facial recognition, but it is also about the safety the safety around that particular place. When you're installing a camera in your location, you want to be alerted when something is going wrong, rather than it identifying the facial recognition or just storing the data into a video source and deleting it in every 60 days or 180 days according to the privilege. So we wanted to address that situation. That's how we came down and we built an AI which can analyze incoming data string and pick out anything which is being different or different to a human eye. It's like a pair of eyes which is looking into it, but it is sitting on your own server, so you don't have a concern on privacy. And the other thing is we don't collect facial data, but we actually collect only the metadata informations. So when something is going wrong, rather than someone looking into 40 different cameras or hundreds of cameras, he would be looking into 5 or 6 cameras. So that reduces the response time for a human attention. And human mind is more prone to fatigue, and in terms of diversion, they see a smaller Facebook ad, they would be immediately on their phone rather than looking on the videos what's happening. So we would just built an alert system which can alert them when something is going wrong. So this is how the idea came in, and right now we
Excellent.
are partners with some of the top companies like IBM. We are doing with Xilinx. We are also doing some smart city projects with the Middle East and in North America.
Excellent. Wonderful work, Dinesh. Dinesh, superb story, superb work that you're doing. A follow-up question to you. And you mentioned that you started your entrepreneurial journey. It's a journey. It's never a destination. At 17, right? You keep moving, you do keep doing new work, new ideas keep coming. How should an entrepreneur zero down on an idea? So many ideas come to us, so many problems that exist. How do you know that this is the one I want to solve? This is the one is close to my heart? Because that decision will define your next 5 years or 10 years of your work in that company. How do you zero down?
So whenever I had the idea, the first thing which I would do is talk to people on how much is this actually a problem to them? Before actually diving into solving a problem, talk to people on if this problem is solved, how many people would be benefiting from it and how much are they willing to pay for it. For example, when I spoke about the project in terms of video analytics are there in the world for a very long time, but it's all about using the data for the right use. And when we spoke, we saw it's a $1.8 trillion product, plus still they wanted to change the cameras. But when you're having a problem, all you have to do is find a few people in the same market and talk to them in saying, if this problem is solved, what is it benefiting you? Is it adding a value to your product? Can you increase your process time into a product? If so, what is the parameters we're talking about? Sorry about that. So then we can talk about the values and what that problem can solve and how much can you actually put your time as a product.
Got it. So your dog is missing you.
Yeah, she's definitely missing me. Work from home culture.
Naveen, thank you so much for that, Dinesh. That was really helpful. He's talking about product market fit, talk to people how much they can pay, what's the market size, and those things determine whether the idea should be pursued or not.